Hey everyone, welcome to this video, and today we have a Spade review on the German He-115 C-1. So you've already seen the T2, which is the Swedish He-115 already reviewed, but of course this is a later version that is in the German tech tree, so we're obviously covering them separately because there are quite a few differences. In the description below, if for those that are new to the channel at least, there will be a couple of timestamps. There is a skip straight ahead to the gameplay, so feel free to do that if you wish. And also there is a Spade Table, which will cover every match in detail, as in kills, ground kills, assists, if I died or whatever. You're more than welcome to go and skip to that as well. But without further ado, let's get in the overview of the He-115 C-1. So obviously, being a later variant, there are going to be some differences which are quite vital to the aircraft, and personally, it definitely makes this plane a lot better. But of course, the one trade-off is this plane, from what I've been able to feel, has a higher minimum fuel load and a higher weight. So there is a trade-off, but it is worth the trade-off, let's put it that way. So we'll start out with the usual stuff, with the X-ray, and we'll go through the aircraft in detail. So starting off with the engines, they're exactly the same as the Swedish ones, being BMW 132Ks. This has 961 horsepower per engine and are exactly the same as the ones on the Swedish plane. Interestingly enough, these have a different sound file, which I find rather strange, because the Swedish T2 sounds like a 264, and this sounds like a HS123. I'm not really sure why this is the case, but it's just Gaijin logic, really. And it also kind of sounds like the AR196, which has a slightly higher pitch, but even so. Just an interesting little note, which I discovered while spading the plane. So going over to the gunners, we do have a difference in armament. So two 792 MG15 machine guns, one operated by the nose gunner here, and one operated by the tail gunner here. Well, I'd say more of a dorsal gunner, but you get my point. So, like the Swedish one, they do have very good coverage, and they are very effective in their role. And the MG15 is just a superior weapon to the 8mm KSP, whatever it is. The long-winded Swedish one. It's a very complicated name. But these have exactly the same coverage, and they are just as hard-hitting. Well, I say just as hard-hitting. The Swedish ones suck, even with the belt. But the 792 MG15 is far more consistent and just feels much better to use, and you'll definitely notice the difference. But then we have to talk about these guns. So in the cells of the aircraft where the engines sit, there are two 792 MG17s, one on each side. These aren't very useful, and I'll be brutally honest, I feel sorry for the guy who had to code these in, because, yeah, I know there's probably not a 115 variant with this, but I'd have loved one in the tail itself, just near the rudder. That would have definitely helped it out a bit more, but obviously that probably never happened in real life, so ignore that. But these guns are basically useless. They only fire directly over the tail like so. They can converge in slightly, so they can get shots on targets behind you. They're not fixed in position, so to speak. But don't expect to be getting any kills for these. Any kills you're going to be getting is with the nose gunner, the tail gunner, or the dorsal gunner, and the mainstay of this aircraft. So don't expect these machine guns to be very useful. But of course, any belts you put on them for the tail gunner and the front gunner will also count for these. But of course, it wouldn't be an X-ray overview if we didn't cover the main selling point of this plane over the Swedish one, which is the 15mm MG151 cannon. Now, unfortunately, stock, this cannon is kind of ass, and that's putting that lightly. You'll be getting a lot of sparks, you'll be getting a lot of, why the hell is this not doing any damage? And the 792 traces, if you have it on a good crew, will probably confuse you. It certainly did me, that's for sure. But once you get used to it, and you get the belts unlocked, this cannon is actually pretty good for the BRF 1.3. And especially if you want to use this thing in ground RB. Now, of course, comparing it to the Swedish one, it does have a little bit of armor, but it's nothing that you could say, yeah, this is way more survivable. It's not. With a large open canopy area, which is very easy to shoot into, don't expect to be surviving this. And let alone the nose area is also quite vulnerable. so don't expect to be surviving anything. The Swedish one didn't have any armor, but this thing might as well not have any either. So don't be expecting anything in terms of that. Going over to the modifications, we do have the air targets belt, which I was primarily using the moment I got the belts. But of course, your stock belt is mostly full of crap, so ignore that. The two useful belt part of that is the HEF and the APT, and the Sparky McSpark is the Incendiary Tracer. So if you can get rid of them, do so. Trust me, you won't regret it. Of course, if we go over to the Universal belt, this is just an all-round belt and has pretty decent penetration and is good for multi-purpose roles. If you want to go a bit more aggressive like me, you can take this belt, or if you want to go and bust some tanks for a living, you can take this belt and just murder tanks. Now, of course, it's not going to have the highest post-pen, but, you know, it's better than nothing. Going over to the turret belt, the only belt you should be running is the APT, because you get armor-piercing incendiary, which is downright ridiculous. And with a fire rate of 1,000 rounds per minute, you are going to be setting a lot of planes on fire. So, definitely take this belt. If you want a little bit more penetration for more easier pilot snipes, take this one. But then we come to the bomb load. Of course, the two 250s and the 500 and the torpedo are pretty similar to the Swedish one, so there are some minor differences. But the main difference that you want to pay attention to is the incendiary bomb. This is the bomb you should be using if you're grinding this plane out. And if you're planning to do some base bombing with this plane, even after you've spaded it, this is definitely the bomb load for you. It can kill a base quite comfortably and can just be more effective, to be honest. You won't get as many points as if you use the SC-500, but who really cares, because you can kill bases more consistently than you can with this one. This bomb can kill a base on a good day and a good map, but just take the incendiaries. Far more versatile and just more usable in the long run. So that covers the 115 in the hangar, and obviously all of the differences and everything. Like I said earlier as well, this thing does have a higher minimum fuel load, so just bear that in mind. It is a bit heavier. So you will notice a difference going from the Swedish T2 to this. I certainly did. But all I will say is definitely fire this one over the Swedish one. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to move us along to the Spade Table, and I will see you all shortly. And welcome to my little table. So if you've skipped ahead, then I'll quickly explain everything. If you've watched up to this point, again, I'll quickly explain for those that are new to the channel. So this is essentially where I write down everything. You can actually thank my sister for the design of the table itself. So there you go. But essentially this is just to write down everything that happens in a match and if I died or not. So for obvious answer, I've stopped putting the hint up here because it should be pretty self-explanatory. The N equals no, the Y equals yes, and things like that. So of course, the battle you're likely going to be seeing is Battle 3, because I think this is the most interesting match. Of course, it just comes down to me deciding. But obviously, for the people that have skipped ahead, they'll already find out. So let's get into it. Battle number 1 was 1 air kills, 10 ground kills, 0 assists, didn't die, 3070 SL, 2034 RP. Battle 2 was 4 air kills, 1 ground kill, 0 assists, did die, 5474 SL, 1546 RP with no base bombing dropped. And battle number 3 was 2 air kills, 4 ground kills, 1 assist, did die, 6805 SL, 1958 RP with 0.004 incendiary bombs dropped on a base, because that's all you get with incendiary bombs. They don't exactly have explosive filler per se, so don't expect to be doing a huge amount of base bombing in terms of tonnage. If you want to get your tonnage up, just use the 500, because it has 260 kilograms of explosive. So that will come out to 0.26 if you really want that. But otherwise, don't really use this thing as a bomber. It's not really built for that. Well, it is kind of in the northern emitter. But if you really want the most fun out of this thing, use it as a fighter. It will get you killed, obviously, because obviously the lack of armor plating. But trust me, this is a very fun plane. And whilst it isn't going to be exactly meta anytime soon, it's definitely one to consider if you want to have a bit of a fun time. Let's put it that way. But without further ado, I'm going to hand you over to the gameplay now. I hope you enjoy seeing battle number 3, which it will most likely be, and I will see you all on the next one. Right, first bomb released. I think my base is going to get stolen now. but we'll soon find out. Should be able to get my second incinerator on this base, but I think that Stuka's going for it. I'm not too sure. Looks like they're both going for it. Yeah, so I got that one, but I'm going to close my bomb bay for now. Because I suspect they're going to both bomb that base. Yep, they did. I'm glad I held that bomb. No point wasting it. I'd rather keep it for later, because having an incendiary bomb, which can even kill a light tank, is pretty useful. And besides, the air targets belt has a API, so I can kill light tanks if I want. Which is a useful trait to have in this map, that's for sure. Because I don't think really on the opposing side they have a huge amount that can do that. They've got that Kai-45, but that's about it really. So, TBF, Kai-45, he's going to be the main priority. I'm not too worried about a Chinese I-16. Kai-45 is going to be the main focus if I can. Ow. I'm probably dead to overspeed here. Thank you. I'm surprised we got away with that. I thought the wings were going to come flying off, but that's why you research your modules and get your freaking airframe modification unlocked, because that does make a difference. Alright, Hans, give him a drive-by. Don't want to hit friendly, so I'm going to hold my fire. I don't want to hit a friendly because there's that many of us in this area. It's a bit clustered up, you know. There's a Chung. Ow. It's a Chung 28, so not the hugest, like, dangerous of aircraft, but like it's enough for me to go, yeah, I need to deal with this still. Nice crit. P400 still ongoing, that's fine. Teammates should be able to finish up that I-16, I hope. Which gives me enough time to turn around and hopefully get this second bomb off. And no, I did not wait till my bomb bay doors open to say that. Alright, let's get rid of this bomb so I don't have to worry about it. Sorry to all of the troops down there, this is probably a war crime. Oh, they've changed it. That should have killed the tank. Huh, okay. Guess they did that in an update or something, I don't know. Alright, let's put this cannon to work. Oh, really? AI's just going to steal the kill and just not do anything about it? Alright, sure. I'll come back in for another pass, but, like, come on. Give me credit where credit's due. I'm using a 115 as a ground attacker. Yeah, like, this plane is definitely, like, very special. Like, it is one that people have wanted. Myself included, because I love seaplanes. But, like, it's definitely a special one, that's for sure. Why is this not killing it? There we go. I was about to say, this 15 mil should be popping them like crazy. And that's the troops down there shooting at me. Which, if you didn't know, yes, they actually do that. They shoot at you. There's a little fun fact for you veterans out there that maybe not, like, wasn't aware of that. See if I can hit the rear, see if that does anything. Nope. Alright. Thank you. D510 coming in from the left. I'm going to turn the plane like so. So that way I get my guns on him easier. I'm not taking a head on with Palliers. I know how dangerous those bloody things are. I should know, because I love the Palliers. It's a great low-tier plane. Now the question is, does he have cannon left? Well, he definitely doesn't have EFS left. He does have cannon left. And he just extinguished the fire and took out my tail control. Yeah, we're dead. He's just shot at an engine. Well, an engine, I should say. I mean, yeah, no, we're losing too much airspeed. That's unfortunate. And he's also shot off my float, so I can't even safely land in the water if I wanted to. Not like it matters. We're joined in the trees, and I'm not even going to question what's going on here. Yep, I hope my crew can swim, because that's the end of that. There you go. Nice little bit of fun. This plane can definitely do something, but is it the most meta plane we've had for Germany at this sort of tier? Nope. But, well, it's fun. That's important.